Welcome to District Command Central, your go-to source for the latest news and updates on the Washington Commanders. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss a play. The Washington Commanders have had their fair share of gambles in recent years, from coaching hires to draft picks to the endless carousel of quarterbacks that have come and gone in D.C. But perhaps no offseason move was met with more skepticism or mockery than their decision to bring in wide receiver Deebo Samuel Sr. from the San Francisco 49ers. It wasn't just the analysts on national television who were laughing. Social media erupted with memes and hot takes calling the move a nostalgia signing, a desperate grab, and the most Commanders thing ever. After all, Samuel was supposedly past his prime, a 28-year-old hybrid receiver who had battled nagging injuries, declining numbers, and a reputation for being difficult to manage. But now, 5 games into the season, it's clear that this gamble isn't just paying off. It's transforming into one of the most quietly brilliant moves of the entire NFL offseason. From the moment Adam Peters pulled the trigger on the trade, it was clear this wasn't some random roll of the dice. Peters, the Commanders' new general manager, had a long history with Deebo from their days together in San Francisco. He was part of the front office that scouted, drafted, and developed him into the multi-dimensional playmaker who terrorized defenses in the 2021 season. So when Peters saw an opportunity to snag him for the price of a mere 5th-round pick, the kind of draft capital teams usually use to take flyers on long shots, he jumped at it. The rest of the league saw damaged goods. Peters saw familiarity, fit, and fire. And right now, it looks like the Commanders are the ones laughing last. Even back in training camp, Deebo seemed different. The easy narrative was that he'd show up out of shape and disinterested, a player collecting a paycheck and reminiscing about better days in the Bay. But instead, reporters described a leaner, sharper version of Samuel, a guy who was embracing the challenge of redemption. Coaches talked about his energy, teammates raved about his work ethic, and fans began to notice how quickly he was clicking with rookie quarterback Jayden Daniels. By the time Week 1 rolled around, any doubts about whether Deebo could still ball were fading fast. Against the New York Giants, he exploded for 96 total yards and a touchdown, slicing through defenders like it was 2021 all over again. That performance set the tone for what would become a revival tour for Deebo Samuel Sr. every week since. He's looked faster, stronger, and more engaged, the kind of player who refuses to fade quietly into the twilight of his career. When Terry McLaurin went down with an injury, many feared the Commanders' offense would sputter. Instead, Deebo became the focal point, carrying the passing game on his broad shoulders. He's been used everywhere, lining up outside, in the slot, even taking handoffs out of the backfield. Cliff Kingsbury, Washington's offensive coordinator, deserves massive credit for unlocking that versatility. He's treated Samuel not as a traditional wideout, but as an offensive weapon, a Swiss Army knife who can do it all. The defining moment so far came in Week 5 against the Los Angeles Chargers. It was late in the 4th quarter, the Commanders had a comfortable lead, and most coaches would have been happy to run out the clock. Not Dan Quinn. The new head coach wanted to make a statement. On a gutsy 4th down play, rookie quarterback Jayden Daniels dropped back, scanned the field, and fired a bullet to the back of the end zone, right into the hands of Deebo Samuel. Touchdown. His 4th of the season. The stadium erupted, and for a moment, it felt like all the doubts, all the mockery, all the talk of him being washed had vanished into the roar of the crowd. What's remarkable about Samuel's resurgence isn't just the stats, though they're impressive. 4 touchdowns in 5 games, averaging over 90 yards of total offense per week, and showing the kind of burst and aggression that once made him one of the most feared weapons in football. What's really stood out is his leadership. This isn't the same Deebo who once clashed with coaches or bristled over contract negotiations in San Francisco. This is a veteran who's mentoring younger players, embracing the grind, and setting a tone in the locker room that's contagious. Reports out of Washington say he's taken rookies under his wing, including Daniels, helping him read defenses and build confidence. It's the kind of presence that doesn't show up on a stat sheet but can redefine a team's culture. And let's talk about Daniels for a second, because this young man's chemistry with Deebo is no accident. The rookie has leaned heavily on Samuel's experience, both on and off the field. When plays break down, Deebo becomes his safety blanket, a reliable outlet who can turn a short slant into a 20-yard gain. That trust is gold for a first-year quarterback trying to find his footing in the NFL. You can see it in their body language, the quick glances at the line of scrimmage, the unspoken understanding on broken plays. Daniels knows that if he gives Debo even a sliver of space, something special might happen. Of course, it's worth remembering how unlikely this resurgence seemed just a few months ago. National pundits were merciless. ESPN panels questioned why Washington would waste cap space on a declining asset. One prominent analyst even said, Debo Samuel isn't the answer to anything the Commanders need. Others predicted he wouldn't make it through half the season healthy. Yet here we are, and not only is he thriving, he's outproducing receivers half his age. It's a reminder of something that gets lost in the analytics-driven chatter of modern sports media. Heart, pride, and chip-on-the-shoulder determination still matter. The Commanders' offense, once stagnant and predictable, now hums with creativity and confidence. Kingsbury's schemes have found the perfect way to showcase Debo's hybrid skill set. Jet sweeps, end-arounds, bubble screens, motion routes. Every play seems designed to put him in space and let him create chaos. Defenses are forced to account for him on every snap, and that attention is opening opportunities for others. Even without McLaurin, players like Jahan Dotson and Curtis Samuel, no relation, are benefiting from the gravity Debo creates. Washington is no longer a one-dimensional offense, and that evolution starts with Samuel's presence. Fans, too, have taken notice. FedEx Field, often criticized for its lackluster atmosphere, has come alive. When Debo touches the ball, there's a buzz, that collective inhale that happens when everyone knows something electric could happen. Jerseys with his number have started popping up in the stands. Kids are chanting his name. It's a renaissance not just for the player, but for a fan base that's long been starved for excitement and identity. In a city that's seen more false dawns than most, Debo's resurgence feels real, tangible, and deeply satisfying. The Commanders' front office, meanwhile, looks brilliant. Peters and Quinn bet on familiarity and culture, on a player they knew inside and out. They believed that a change of scenery, a fresh system, and a little belief could reignite Debo's fire. And they were right. It's the kind of personnel decision that builds credibility, the type fans and players notice. Because when a GM shows he's willing to trust his own evaluations rather than follow groupthink, it sends a message. This team is building something with purpose. Now, as the Commanders sit at a surprisingly strong 4-1 start, the conversation is shifting from, is Debo done, to can Washington make a real playoff run? The NFC East remains a gauntlet, but the Commanders are no longer the easy when they once were. They're physical, creative, and fearless. Debo's swagger seems to have infected the whole roster, from the linemen to the secondary. It's the kind of intangible boost teams dream of when they make a veteran acquisition. It's still early, of course. The season is long, and football can be cruel. Injuries happen, momentum shifts, and Cinderella stories sometimes crumble. But what's undeniable is that Debo Samuel Sr. has rewritten his own narrative. He's not a washed-up diva or a declining hybrid. He's a leader, a weapon, and a reminder that betting on heart can still pay off in a league obsessed with youth and numbers. For the Washington Commanders, this isn't just about production, it's about identity. They're a team that's learning to believe again, and Debo is right at the center of that belief. So while the rest of the league was busy laughing back in March, the Commanders were quietly building something that now looks like one of the smartest stories of the 2025 season. And as Debo Samuel keeps breaking tackles, high-fiving teammates, and grinning under those burgundy and gold lights, it's becoming clearer each week. This gamble didn't just work. It might have changed everything. If you're enjoying the coverage, make sure to smash that like button and drop a comment with your thoughts on the Commanders' latest moves. We want to hear from you. Hold on to your seats, folks, because the NFL world has just been sent into absolute chaos with a bombshell that nobody saw coming. And yet, somehow, the whispers have been swirling for weeks. The Washington Commanders, in what is already being described as one of the boldest moves in recent football history, have officially secured Terry McLaurin with a contract that is nothing short of astronomical. $750 million. Yes, you heard that right. $750 million, locking him in all the way through 2030. This isn't just a contract. This is a declaration, a statement to the entire league, a signal that Washington is not playing small anymore. Rumors had been floating around for months that the team's front office was determined to make McLaurin the cornerstone of their future, but even the most optimistic insiders didn't dare dream this kind of commitment. For a team that has often struggled to find consistency and identity over the years, this move signals a new era, and one that the fans are already buzzing about nonstop on social media, forums, and every corner of the internet where football gossip thrives. The deal itself is staggering, not only for the sheer numbers, but for what it represents in terms of market value and the shifting power dynamics across the NFL. To put this into perspective, $750 million doesn't just make McLaurin one of the highest-paid wide receivers of all time. It catapults him into a stratosphere that we've rarely seen in professional sports. Analysts are already speculating about the implications. How will this affect the salary cap? How will other teams respond in an increasingly competitive bidding war for elite talent? And most importantly, what does this mean for Washington's long-term strategy, particularly as they try to assemble a team capable of contending year after year, not just in fleeting bursts? The rumor mill suggests that this contract was the result of months of intense negotiations behind closed doors, a mix of persuasive arguments, leverage, and the kind of vision only a few front offices dare to dream of. McLaurin, known for his speed, precision, and sheer determination on the field, has always been a favorite among fans, but now, with this mega contract, he becomes a symbol, a living, breathing representation of Washington's ambition, their willingness to invest massively in the right talent, and their belief that he is the face of the franchise for the next decade. Sources close to the team, who have been whispering off the record for weeks, hint that this deal wasn't just about numbers. It was about vision, about building a narrative around the team that can attract both top-tier players and a rejuvenated fan base. There's talk of McLaurin being given not only unprecedented financial security, but also a level of influence within the organization that few players have ever seen. Rumors suggest he will play a significant role in shaping team culture, mentoring younger players, and even having input in certain personnel decisions. This kind of trust and empowerment is rare in the NFL, where contracts are often cold, transactional, and heavily performance-based. For Washington to offer McLaurin such a multifaceted package indicates a level of commitment that goes beyond the traditional player-team relationship. It's almost as if they're saying, "You're not just a player here. You are Washington, and Washington is yours to lead." And the league, of course, has taken notice. Analysts, commentators, and rival teams are already dissecting this move in real time, trying to figure out if this is the start of a new arms race in the NFL, where elite players command sums that redefine the economics of the sport entirely. Fan reactions have been equally intense, ranging from ecstatic celebration to cautious skepticism, which is, let's be honest, typical whenever a deal of this magnitude drops. On one hand, you have Washington diehards declaring that this is the moment their team finally steps into the big leagues of NFL prestige. Social media platforms are ablaze with memes, highlight reels, and predictions about how McLaurin will carry the team for the next 10 years. On the other hand, skeptics question the sustainability of such a massive contract. Will it tie up cap space and limit flexibility for other key acquisitions? Will the pressure of this record-breaking deal weigh on McLaurin in ways that affect performance? And then there's the inevitable comparison to other high-profile contracts across the league, with fans and pundits alike trying to debate whether Washington has overpaid, underpaid, or simply made the kind of statement that could reshape the competitive landscape for years to come. One thing is certain, this is not just a contract. This is a conversation starter, a league-altering announcement, and, quite frankly, a rumor generator in its purest form. Even before the ink dried on the official paperwork, the whispers were already spreading. Who else might get an extension like this? Is this the start of a new trend where teams bet everything on one transformative player? Or is Washington simply an outlier, willing to break every mold to build around a singular talent? Insiders hint that the deal was more complicated than even the public might realize. There are alleged performance incentives, bonuses tied to playoff appearances, Pro Bowl selections, and even team achievements, all structured in ways that could see the total payout fluctuate. though never in a way that diminishes the headline figure of $750 million. There's also speculation that part of the allure for McLaurin was Washington's commitment to improving the team in every way possible, recruiting top offensive talent, shoring up the offensive line, and building a supporting cast capable of maximizing his skills. The rumor mill even suggests that McLaurin's agent played a pivotal role in navigating the complex web of negotiations, leveraging interest from other franchises, and ultimately securing a deal that is as much about status and legacy as it is about pure financial gain. For McLaurin, who has consistently been one of the most reliable and dynamic wide receivers in the league, this contract cements his place not only in Washington lore, but also in the broader narrative of NFL history. He is no longer just a star player. He is a cornerstone, a marquee name, and the face of a franchise in transition, tasked with leading both on and off the field. Meanwhile, league executives are reportedly monitoring this situation closely, understanding that Washington's aggressive approach could set a precedent for future negotiations. There is talk in the rumor circuits that other teams may feel compelled to offer similarly massive deals to retain or attract top talent, potentially triggering a domino effect that could redefine the NFL's financial landscape over the next decade. Analysts are debating endlessly about the implications for team-building strategy, the balance of power between players and organizations, and whether we are witnessing the start of a new era where franchise-altering contracts are the norm rather than the exception. The sheer scale of McLaurin's contract, combined with the length of commitment through 2030, creates a storyline that will dominate NFL discussions for years, with fans, journalists, and commentators alike constantly referencing this move as a benchmark for what is possible when ambition meets opportunity. What makes this deal particularly intriguing is the timing. Coming at a point when Washington is eager to reclaim relevance and assert dominance in a fiercely competitive NFC landscape. Locking in McLaurin isn't just about keeping a star player. It's about sending a message. The Commanders are essentially saying to every competitor, we are building for sustained success, and we are willing to back it up with numbers that few could imagine. Rumors suggest that the team's ownership viewed this as a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to secure a player of McLaurin's caliber without the risk of losing him to another franchise. The whispers circulating in league circles hint at a carefully calculated strategy. Invest heavily in your cornerstone, surround him with complementary talent, and give him the platform to excel while the organization benefits from the resulting competitive edge, both on the field and in the minds of fans and media. This kind of visionary approach is exactly what separates franchises that cycle through mediocrity from those that define an era. The impact on Washington's locker room is already a hot topic in rumor circles. Teammates reportedly view McLaurin's deal with a mix of awe and inspiration, with many acknowledging that having a player of his caliber and commitment level anchored in the organization provides a unique boost to morale and team identity. Coaches are said to be invigorated by the prospect of building game plans around a player who is not only extraordinarily talented, but also fully committed to the franchise for the long haul. Rumors also indicate that McLaurin's leadership off the field is expected to flourish even more, with younger players looking up to him as both a mentor and a tangible example of how dedication, skill, and strategic career moves can converge into historic success. There is a sense, at least in the speculative chatter, that this contract is about much more than money. It is about vision, culture, and the creation of a lasting legacy, both for McLaurin and for the Washington franchise as a whole. And so, as the NFL world continues to buzz with speculation, debate, and sheer amazement, one thing is crystal clear. Terry McLaurin's new $750 million deal is more than a headline. It's a statement of intent, a seismic shift in how teams value elite talent, and a narrative that will be dissected, analyzed, and debated endlessly across sports media for the foreseeable future. Whether this gamble pays off in Super Bowl rings, playoff dominance, or simply in setting a new benchmark for player compensation, only time will tell. But for now, the rumor mills are running wild, fans are dreaming big, and Washington has firmly placed its flag on the summit of ambition. This is one of those moments in sports that will be remembered, talked about, and referenced for years. A move that takes the NFL by storm and leaves everyone wondering, what comes next? The whispers, the speculation, the excitement, it's all part of the story, and one thing is for certain. Terry McLaurin, locked in through 2030, is now officially at the center of the NFL's biggest narrative, and the league will never be the same. Thanks for tuning into District Command Central. Make sure to subscribe and follow us for all the Commanders news you need. Until next time, keep the faith and hail to the Commanders.